For our fifth and final pick for body horror, we've got none other than David Cronenberg himself, the body horror master, with
The Brood.
1979, The Brood. I know that you have a lot of thoughts on this.
I do.
I'm gonna go ahead and
We're
give
the
my
inverse of each other on this
yeah.
one.
Let me give some of my thoughts real quick off rip. A lot of the pros, I really do like the way this movie looks. A lot of the colors and the shots here, the composition is really, really nice to look at. I had a fun time living in this small town. I really enjoyed the performance from the psychiatrist, who was a very weird guy, and also just a very calculated man, especially with his performance. It felt very harrowing. His performance was definitely a little bit it just felt very much like a pastor, like a church pastor, one that you don't trust. Also the dad's performance, we got Art Hindle. Art Hindle was really good, and a really convincing dad going through a rough time and a rough patch in his life as he tried to keep his daughter safe and look out for the best interest of his daughter. I felt like his performance was really good. There's a lot of great performances in this movie.
What do you think of the score?
The score is great. The score is great. It's not something that actually lingered with me past the runtime, but it was definitely engaging, and I enjoyed what I was hearing from the score. I was more drawn in by the performances as well as the way the movie looked. I thought the movie looked really good. Also, these little demon creatures I found to be so fucking funny. I was just like, wow, David Cronenberg hates kids, bro. Like, he hates children. Poor Brandon Cronenberg, you know, having to grow up watching and be like, damn. You hated me?
Yeah, no, these are evil minions.
Yeah, but you know, I don't feel like this movie did enough for me in terms of body horror. Okay. This movie is very, it's a calm movie. It's a movie way more focused on introspection, how dealing with grief, dealing with divorced parents, a lot of family issues, especially dealing with very separation issues. It's a very personal film, and you could tell like he kind of saved all like the body horror for the end, and there's not really much in terms of body horror, which I left kind of feeling disappointed about, just mainly because I didn't really connect with as much with the storyline of what the movie was saying. I still felt entertained, and I didn't feel like it's a bad movie. I don't feel like it's a bad movie. I had a good time watching it. I just wasn't left as impressed. But I know you have a lot of notes. I want to get out the way. I wanted to get my thoughts out the way, so that way you can yap about what you got to say, because I know you have a lot to say, and I'm very curious about what you have to say. What do you think? What do you like about this movie? What do you like about it?
What I love about The Brood is I just find it such a personal and bitter film from Cronenberg. He was going through a divorce. He was struggling as a father. This was early in his career, the 70s. And, you know, I'm sure also the pressures of being a filmmaker doing genre cinema was pressuring him at the time, you know, because it's not, you know, all of these issues that were sort of lingering in his life at the time feel infused in the script.
He was going through a divorce while he was shooting.
Yes, I think either right when he was shooting this or right before. Like it's intertwined. This film is very much him bleeding his anxiety, his bitterness right into the script, and I think that's what gets me about it. Is I think it's a very bitter and personal and cold film from him. I think a lot of his other films obviously deal with, you know, sort of technological advancement in a way that feels clinical and scary, but this one feels the most scaled down and just raw.
I love that you're saying this, because even though I know you love it and I know you connect with it, I'm just thinking about the movie through that lens and realizing like how much David Cronenberg was like, my ex-wife is a witch and she's pumping out like demon babies.
There's so many sequences of just either Oliver Reed, the psychiatrist, or the husband being like, man, it's just like, what do I do to get such a witch in my life?
Dude, like, he was like, dude, I hate my ex-wife. She's causing all this bad stuff to happen. Like, literally, she's like, she's the cause of everything bad in my life.
It's divorced dad horror.
Even though it is a divorced dad horror movie, like, it's it's about that. I don't think it strays too close to the sun where it becomes like stomp rock, like dad core.
It's more, it's less him just trying to be punishing, and I think more of him feeling lost. Because like the dad in the film, who's literally like, you have these minions running around beating people with mallets.
I was gonna say too, like the dad in this movie is like a man who can do no wrong. Like I'm sorry, that's how I feel. Like the guy's like very much like he's painted to be this perfect dad, and like he's just going through a hard time, and
there's
like,
a little
dude,
exoneration going on.
He's even getting pussy thrown at him, and he's like, dude, I can't get laid right now because I'm so worried about like, dude, I have like, and like looking at it through that lens, it's like, dude, I'm David Cronenberg, dude, I get laid so much, but I can't even get laid right now because I'm like focused on my children. Think it's
that self-aggrandizing. I think it's more like
I am slightly exaggerating, but honestly, I'm not. I agree with that.
I think it's more just like a dad feeling stuck in this world of people he doesn't fucking understand or quite frankly like, and that frustration of it. And granted, I do think like obviously what you're saying is very valid and true, and I'm not saying it doesn't stray there a little bit.
You're just invalidating my feelings.
I think you're fucking wrong and it's dumb. No, I'm kidding. Very intelligent human being, but I just think there's that. You little hug, and then I just think there's a lostness to him in the film that I can understand. And I also think the performance specifically that entrances me is Samantha Eggar as Nola. I think she's terrifying in this film. And I love the theme of this film of rage manifesting physically. It's also, out of all his films which deal with technology, this is his most, like, I think, spiritual, because it's not dealing with direct technology. It's the idea of just rage manifesting physically. And there's something, I don't know, interesting about that. And her performance as the detached mother who, compared to the in-laws who also had a part in her abuse and suffering, you can see that detachment, that wear and tear on her, and you can feel that she's snapped. And every scene with her, especially in Oliver Reed, who's trying to get to the core of why she feels the way she is terrifying, especially when we start to understand that her direct anger is causing the minions to kill. And I thought that was very fascinating, and this idea of like trauma being the weapon itself. I don't know, it was really interesting. And the very end scene where she has the sort of sack, it's a very iconic image, and she's licking it and it's like a fetus coming out. It's very much Cronenberg's statement about what he basically thinks of motherhood, and especially from the angle of his wife. And this is
such a man movie,
bro. It's angry. No, it's angry. And I think about how he correlates basically the violence of birth with the violence of trauma from their parents. And I think it's not even, I think it kind of goes even beyond a relationship. I think he's just talking about, because there's a line he says in the film here, says, "I feel like I've already screwed up my child. She's only 6. And I feel like it's that, like, worry about that point of no return. Nola's past the point of no return, which, as we see through the in-laws, they caused that. And then he's worried about that with his daughter because he doesn't know what he's doing. And then the minions killing people. There's just this feeling of pressure. And I think it's a fascinating time capsule in his life and where he was at, and mentally where he was at with his fatherhood and as a filmmaker. It's just, I don't know, it's an interesting little piece from a filmmaker I respect. And even if I disagree with some of its thesis about motherhood and maybe some of the attitudes towards the ex-wife, the dad cinema, I just think there's something intriguing about it.
Although I do relate to a lot of the stuff that you were talking about in terms of generational trauma and how we find out that the wife's mother was literally abusing her and was causing a lot of grief and pain in her life. And like you said, she was, there's a theme of being afraid of continuing on this generational trauma and like cycles of it. And I've seen it happen in like, in friends and in my own family. Like generational trauma is something that at least I've definitely tried to move past in my own life, working through different things that I notice and patterns that my parents have passed down to me. And something that we try to work towards through. And I see your perspective. I still do walk away with this movie just thinking it's a little bit more sillier. And I do think that it's like, and this is divorced dad core.
And even on a technical level though, I love the score. And then I love the violence. I think the gore is good. The shot composition, the way it's following, it's very clinical. I like the detached style to it. And then also, I got to shout out Oliver Reed. I love his character, and I like this idea of role playing with people. And it's weird. He sort of brings their trauma out through their physical maladaptations and, their manifestations. Yeah. by playing the people that are suffering.
He's in Tommy, and that's directed by Ken Russell, who we just covered with Altered States.
He's in Three Musketeers. Dude, Oliver Reed, he's in Ken Russell's The Devils as well.
Dude, that's right.
Yeah, dude, Oliver Reed, and his final film was Ridley Scott's Gladiator.
Holy shit.
Yeah, he died at 61 because he was in
I'm looking at his filmography,
drunk.
and this is insane.
It's an insane filmography.
You got Gladiator, The Devil's a Brood. I've never heard of this one, The Adventures of Baron... do you know how to pronounce that?
Baron Munchausen.
Munchausen, yeah. Have you therseen this movie?
I have not seen it, but that's Terry Gilliam, I'm guessing, I think. Yeah, I've seen Time Bandits. There's actually a big gap in his filmography I need to see, but
interesting. Yes. Yeah, no, I want to get through some of his work because I definitely want to see Tommy and I want to see more Ken Russell. Mm-hmm. But look, The Broad, 1979, if you are into Cronenberg, I highly recommend this movie. This is very much David Cronenberg, not Brandon Cronenberg. This is very much Cronenberg David Cronenberg. Yeah, is this one of his first body horror movies?
This is I think his third film. This is before he hit his swing in the 80s.
Gotcha.
Yes.
Yeah, it's very interesting to see where he started, at least the beginning roots of it. Mm-hmm. And although I do have my critiques with the movie, I did still have... I still had a great time watching this. I thought it was still very interesting, even though it is, to me, feels like divorced dadcore. What do you think about this movie? What do you rate it?
And to be fair, I do think it is divorced dadcore. I just think
no, you don't.
I think it's a very interesting version of divorced dadcore because it's not like... I disagree with you. I don't think it's whiny. I think it's bitter. And I think the difference is that when you listen to the lines and you see the subtleness of how it flares up with the male character, I don't get whiny because I don't think he's saying he's like suffering because of her. I think he just is mad and he's angry and he feels...
You know what? You're right. And I take it back. I don't think it is whiny. You're 100%. Yeah, he's angry and he's lashing out. He's lashing out. Yeah. Yes. The Brood, 1979 by
David Cronenberg.
And that was going to complete And that is going to conclude our third week of horror film extravaganza. This week was
body horror.
Next week we have
horror comedies.
I'm super excited to get into all these.
That's movies. Gonna be a good time.
We have a good lineup for you guys. Mm-hmm. A lot of great discussion. Go ahead and go over to my Letterbox, Filmbro98. You're gonna see the full list. If you're seeing this video, you can watch the movies. And also we have 2 other episodes out already. We have the slasher episode out. We have the psychological horror episode out. If you have not seen those, go ahead and go to our YouTube channel. Subscribe if you haven't already. Check out those episodes. And if you haven't seen these movies, go ahead and watch them and come back to join us in this conversation. This week was fun. Week, I think my favorite one was From Beyond, just because of how much fun I had with From Beyond. And Altered States are
I think Altered States takes the cake for me.
I wouldn't even...
Transformative.
Yeah, it's an incredible film. Yes. What a great time this week.
Absolutely.
We'll see y'all next week. Thank you so much to Billy for editing our podcast. Thank you so much for Ivana for helping out with the audio. So much.
And thank you guys for tuning in.
Yes, dude. It's been such a good time. And we got one more episode left.
Yes,
and we want to keep this going. So make sure to subscribe, like our YouTube video. If you like what you're watching and you know other people who fuck with horror films, like we fuck with horror films, or they just fuck with film in general, send them our videos. Spread the word about our videos, guys. If you're really enjoying what you're watching, we really, really appreciate it.
Thank you so much.
Subscribe. Instagram, Working Class Frame Rate. TikTok, Working Class Frame Rate. We'll catch y'all next week.
Sayonara.
Peace out.
Working Class Frame Rate.